Fanachtan as Palcheru does Shiaght Laa. She Fiona McArdle mish. I'm Fiona McArdle and I'd like to welcome you to Shiaght Laa. In Shiaght Laa this time, on Shiaght Laa and Cute Shore, on Cooish, Failure Gilgach Feed Keedas Kerspeed, Cooish Manx Language Festival 2024. We hear from some of those who took part in making last week's event so interesting and enjoyable. As Cúrlan and Hair the Gerta Paint, a workshop and opportunity to pour paint. Your chance for a fun, hands-on and creative experience at the Artreach Studios in Peel. The Isle of Man Poetry Society publishes attractive collections of poems twice a year in Manx Reflections. We've heard in Shiaght Laa too about the Society's poetry trails, where poets have an opportunity for their work to be published as a poster, a number of which make up a trail of work to follow across a number of public places. Another of the Society's activities is holding a regular series of poetry pop-in evenings, and there's one coming up this Sunday evening, the 17th of November, at 7:30 in the Archibald Knox in Onken. Everyone's very welcome, both new and experienced poets, and it's a chance to go and read your poems, or a piece you've come across and would like to share, around the table in the meeting room. And there's free cake. You can wash that down with drinks from the bar, of course. It's a very informal evening, admission is free, and all are very welcome, and very welcoming. And you can find out more about the Isle of Man Poetry Society and perhaps become a member. Bíon plain rihit and chuegu vlein as feed edan toshach and strain de lechten ons cúnichten Ned Madril. Hag Robert McComas and I rosh bing and Cheshire Kilgach, as van Hidleach Ned Madril, Kurt Liorish Robert McComas hin, ons Nike Jeg queg as care feed. Hamas Robert Lord McKeown Grammadus na Gilga as na Bonoglan, ta lechten a ve Kurt Liorish Sly Elle ons Cúnichten Lorty hui na Gilga. Ta lechten Ned Madril ve Kurt Liorish Sly Nies, ta kainalt rish Chengichen Elle. Lie Lioru ta kainalt rish na Munchingichen Elle. Gede vel na Chengichen an Casla, ta imadi jena Doliagen ve Reinage. As Sanesach vezen mach, Kreta ve spijelach 1000, as foddy de berchi spijelach dan Hilk Nis. Gerid, ta spijelas na Gilga ve 94,000, ta kainalt rish Chengichen Elle ton Scow. The Ned Madril lecture was given this year by Professor Max Wheeler of the Porth and Ronsea Gilgach, a research group under the auspices of An Cheshire Gilgach, and his talk formed part of Cooish Failure Gilgach, the Cooish Manx Language Festival. We heard about the festival in Shiaght Laa from co-ordinated Cooish, the coordinator of the Cooish, and Grenadier Culture Valens Manx Language Development Officer Ruth Keggin Gell. Shiaght Laa caught up with Ruth again just as the Cooish was drawing to a close.
Ruth Keggin Gell má co-ordinated and Cooish Malina, tá sin bunus a jitgus Jeddah an Nélia, as grenachte ve rahan.
Renny gol the Maier liam, ver ram tagatan on, Mlina, shacht tagatan as feed, and sferinus as tami genachtan ski, as tamachore fi rawan, ne shach tami manre, as tanis tashin bonus ek ger neile nesh, tashin olia fi vanre liam.
Renú ceau bunus ledan le Jinu Cúish and son Goyle Ren. Quod the live chit de Goyle Ren.
Olia Rakelia, kier feed liam, fashion fi vanre machionshens, jai personen as feed, ons Kirlan choral, as mush jai as dai, harishne Kirlan elle, and der Kirlan elle, as ren Joy as mesh ginzach gilg albanach nies as veshen fi samoil as tami trish dale the house lie sola jana na Caitlanan.
Oh, it's a very unfair question, having coordinated An Cooish this year. So are there particular moments that you've thought have gone really well, that you've really enjoyed?
Oh, it is difficult, actually. I think all of it's gone really well. All of it has gone to how I'd hoped it would as well, in terms of there's been good attendance at everything. Things have gone smoothly. No, nothing's gone wrong. I think that's what you really want to make sure as a coordinator, that nothing's gone wrong and that people have seemed to have a lovely time and enjoyed themselves. For me, that's the main thing. It's I don't know if there's any standout events as such. I think it's more just, are people speaking Manx and thinking about Manx and enjoying Manx language events and being in those Manx language environments? And if yes, then I think we've done our jobs, really. Creating spaces where people can listen and speak Manx and find out about Manx, even if they're not Manx speakers. So, I really enjoyed, I think, probably the Saturday, personally, as somebody involved in it, because I felt like there was a real interest and curiosity with people coming and finding out about Scottish Gaelic songs and Manx Gaelic songs and also the language, but also across the road from all of those workshops was Cafe Munjavega, and that was a lovely warm atmosphere. There was loads of Manx to be heard, lots of things to buy and look at, and people really just getting that community vibe across the two areas. So I think altogether that was my favourite part, was the Saturday, I think. It's been really lovely, really, just seeing people coming together for different things.
And Sunday afternoon was very interesting with the, I suppose, experimental approach, really, with rather than have a single Laird and Rau by one person, we had a series of 6 very short pieces with absolutely wonderful topics coming out.
Absolutely. So this was the brainchild of Nicola Toombs from Incheshik Gilgach, and really, really liked the idea of, she's had this licence to run Pecha Coocha talks here in the island for a little while, and what a Pecha Coocha talk is that you have 20 slides on a PowerPoint or such, and you can show 20 of those, and they move on. Each slide moves on automatically after 20 seconds. So people only have 6 minutes 40 in which to deliver a talk. And because the slides move on automatically after every 20 seconds, you have to be concise and you have to stick to the point and get on with it. So it means people can't ramble on. And there were some great talks. There was things about nudibranchs, which are sea slugs. There was things about someone doing cheerleading in Blackpool and all sorts of different things. Probably diverse is the word. So that was great.
Good my morning.
Good my morning.
Ruth Keggin Gell and Grenada, Culture Vanance Manx Language Development Officer, and her overview of this year's Cooish Manx Language Festival. Adel Chanachas na Gilga fia Vairenya, as ta Olwyn a Veirazuna Edarok, Macian Creva Goler, Treva na Lochrani Rail ons Manin. Renachil Golmau de Bolach, Egatreshen, na Renny Farchten, Mar Tjangyan Scran, as na Railidurin Lord Lochranish. Vain Railidur Lochrannach Smoo en all, Henk the Sanhelian, va Godred. Och harau adsen en slai Henk Girach voshen Norlan. She clon vad, de Jane Chiloch Vernagale in Norlan, as mar ren Lochtai Godred, as e harty, vad ve como ons Ellen en Sheer en Alban. Va farenem Gilgach shen Crovan e Godred, eer Roshen tre Henke des Mannen, as ta shen Kurduin Liege Foddy de rau e dechingach ons Lochlanish na Gilg. Adsen tas munichtad Foddy de rennen Gilg go mau fo reil na Lochlani, Credjel de rau e jintach de denki a rash lugshen, tre henk na Halabani gus Mannen, as kindach rishen, ta Mannenish na sneerder dan Albanish na dan Yernish. There was an opportunity at the Cooish this year to find out more about Gaelic, the Gaelic language of Scotland, with the participation of Joy Dunlop, who gave an introduction to the language and also led a workshop singing in the Scots Gaelic. Joy is the presenter of many programmes on BBC Alba, including one dedicated to teaching the Scottish Gaelic, and she's also a winner of the gold medal at Ammod for solo singing, and has been very successful at Ammod with choirs that she's trained. While she was here for an Cooish, Joy also worked with Manx Gaelic Community Choir on Choré. Here's Joy Dunlop as she tells us more about her own experience of a Gaelic.
Joy Dunlop, we know you from BBC Alba with the presentation that you do, including the weather forecast at one point, and including a programme in which you teach Gaelic, encourage the speaking of Gaelic, and we of course know you from singing as well. So what was your route into the Gaelic language and into singing?
Well, I mean, I've been singing since I was tiny. I was one of these children that just sang around the house all the time. I think I drove everybody bonkers by singing everything. But I didn't speak Gaelic when I was young. My mum and dad don't have any Gaelic. And at that point, there wasn't Gaelic medium education in our area, so I went to an English school. But when I was about 9, the Royal National Mod came to Oban. And I was from Connell, a tiny wee village just outside Oban. And they were encouraging anybody in the area that wanted to take part, that they could do that. And we were lucky in Connell. We had a woman who was from Isla originally, and she was a fluent Gaelic speaker. So she had said, anybody that wants to sing, come to my house and I'll teach you. So from then on, every Monday after school, we went to Mrs. Pollock's house, and it was just a group of children from the village, and we learnt phonetically for the mod. And that was... It was just an interesting experience. I love singing, so this was another way of singing. And it wasn't like we ever went in to win, and definitely didn't that first year. But I just loved doing it, and she was happy to help us learn songs. And I carried on just after that, learning more and more songs to compete initially in the mod. And then at that point, when I went to secondary school, we could do Gaelic as a second language. So I started learning then, and that was really my introduction. It was the music that pulled me in. I just loved singing Gaelic songs, but I had to do it by ear. I learned everything by ear.
And then, having completed your secondary education, when you came to tertiary education, in fact, you really threw yourself into it in a big way.
I did. I decided instead of my 6th year in school that I was going to go to Sommerostig, the Gaelic college. And initially my plan was I was going to do 1 year of Gaelic immersion and then go off to university and do something else. And I went to Sommerostig, and I just loved it. At that age and stage, it was a perfect place for me. It was just right place, right time. I was surrounded by really lovely classmates, and there was something about Gaelic. It just clicked for me. And I got to the end of my first year, and I didn't really know if I wanted to stay, wanted to go. And every year I felt like they just kept giving me another option. I'm like, oh, you're still very young, so if you stay, you could get an HND. And then in my second year, they went, oh, if you just do 1 more year, you'll have a degree. And then in my 3rd year, they went, if you just stay 1 more year, you'll have an honours degree. And I got to the end of that, and I had an honours degree in Gaelic language and culture, and I loved that work. And I thought, I don't think I want to do anything else. So from then on, everything I've done really has been based around Gaelic music or language development or supporting the language in some way, shape or form.
And when you were at Sommerostig, Christine Primrose would be there, would she, at that time?
She was indeed, and she still is as well, a wonderful Gaelic traditional singer who is just so generous with her songs, and everybody loves Christine's classes. You can take electives, and Gaelic singing is one of them, that you could only do in first year. And we used to try and see if we could sneak in other years, and everybody was like that. The second, the third and fourth years, we'd be going, any space in Christine's singing classes? Because she's just wonderful.
The style of Christine's singing is a very traditionally based way, but you've decided to approach it in a more innovative way.
Yeah, I mean, I think she was born and brought up with the Shiaght Laa, that real ornamented style of singing from Lewis, her island. That's not where I come from, and that's not how I would naturally sing. So I think that quite early on, we had quite different styles, although it wasn't that she ever enforced her style and I didn't necessarily try and do anything particular. But I think now, and definitely the last few years, I've always, I love tradition, and I love standing up on my own just singing. That's how I learned to sing, going to Tanault Céilís and just standing there a cappella singing a song. But I really liked working with other musicians. I've always liked working with musicians, and I come from a big family. One of my brothers is a pianist, so we did a lot of music together. It was quite natural for me to sing with accompaniment, and I think just the more I've done, the more I always go in, oh, I really love this. I'd like to try something different with this. So in a lot of ways, it wasn't on purpose. It was just why don't we try adding guitar? Why don't we try adding drums? Why don't we add bass? And still trying to hold on to the authenticity of the music and try and highlight what makes it special, but also playing around a wee bit. And I'm definitely not scared to try something with it.
Your first album that you made, a very good start, shall we say, because obviously it was an award-winning album right from the start.
Yeah, I was lucky. It was back in 2010 that album came out. And it was actually the same year that I won the gold medal at the Mod. So I think it does spur you on. You think, I'd quite like to do more singing. I mean, I think every album I've done has been very different. And people maybe like that or they don't. But I'm always looking at how can you challenge what you're doing. And it's quite fun to work with different people and work with different sounds. And I'm always pulling songs from tradition, but just playing around with them a wee bit and seeing how you can interpret those songs. And I think that's fun, to just challenge yourself and maybe hopefully challenge your listeners too.
And in addition to the singing, of course, you're also a dancer.
I am, yeah. So when I was in school, it was ballet I did. I grew up as a ballet dancer. Randomly, we had 2 ballet schools in our tiny, tiny area. And I also went to Cayley's. I grew up doing Cayley dancing, so I've always loved dancing. And the Feis in Oban, which was the Feis movement, is like Cultus in Ireland, or probably the type of thing that Culture Vannon does here when they organised classes. I remember somebody had gone, oh, step dancing, that's a very old traditional type of dancing. And because I was a dancer anyway, I thought, I'd love to try that. And it just was so fun. It was a way to be part of a group of performers, because to be honest, I'm a very lazy instrumentalist, and how I wanted to play with other people, I was just too lazy to practice properly. But somehow I could come and I could dance to them playing. So it just made sense. I love the way that the language and the music and the dance are just intrinsically linked together.
And how did you come to do work for BBC Alba?
So my first job was as a Gaelic development officer. That was what I started doing. And I was actually based in Oban, covering the whole of Argyll. And when I started, they had no budget. I just was given this full-time job and told, get on with it on my own. So in some ways, it was the best training that I had, because I could just go, well, what would I like to do? And I would be teaching classes and I would be doing workshops. But at that point in Oban, there was Oban FM, which was a wee local radio. And they had said, do you want to come in and do a Gaelic programme? And I loved that. I used to go in every week and do my wee College Crack programme. And I think from then on, I thought I really liked doing that type of work. And when BBC Alba was established, because at first it was only radio we had in Scotland, when BBC Alba was established and they'd maybe do panel shows, they'd be looking for people that were happy to come on and talk, and I enjoy talking, and I was always happy to give an opinion. And it really, I think, came from there that sometimes they were looking for just a guest on different programmes, and I was quite lucky from that work and from other work that I was doing, the opportunity came to maybe present a programme. And it was really that way. A lot of the skills I learned from standing up at Cayley and introducing my songs and telling people what I was out to do, these are skills I use in my job all the time. And the way it works, you do one thing, somebody sees you do one thing and they go, oh, maybe you could do this. Or you think, well, I could maybe give something else a try. And it's been a wiggly path to get there. But I've been really lucky that I've had opportunities to do a lot of TV presenting in both English now and Gaelic, which is fun.
Well, Joy Dunlop, good my morning.
Gyrmila Macaf, Tapal of Gamod.
Singer, musical arranger, television presenter, and Mod gold medal winner, all-round enthusiast for a Gaelic, Joy Dunlop. On Sunday afternoon, the 17th of November at 3:30 in Cathedral Isle of Man, St German's Cathedral in Peel, the cathedral choir will be singing Gabriel Fauré's Requiem. Soloists will be soprano Juliet Tranter and baritone John Snelling. Stuart Corrie will be playing the organ, and the work will be conducted by Dr. Peter Littman. The AYF Band, the Anglican Youth Fellowship, is a Christian group from Uganda who are celebrating 40 years of their ministry. The group was started as a choir offering worship music appropriate for the younger generation who weren't attending traditional Anglican worship in Uganda. They've developed as a band and as a Christian fellowship and continue to be dedicated to engaging with young people. They also share their music and prayer ministry with people of all ages.
70 times 7, you've forgiven me all my life. 70 times 7, you've forgiven
of the AYF band arrived in the island today and will be participating at various events. On Saturday the 16th of November, at the service for the enthronement of Bishop Tricia Hillis, the new Bishop of Sodor Man, AYF will be providing opening praise as the congregation gathers. And on Tuesday the 19th of November, the AYF band will be giving an evening concert in Peel Cathedral at 7 o'clock, and admission is free. On Wednesday evening the 20th of November, Manx Concert Brass will be continuing their series of monthly concerts in St Germans Cathedral in Peel at 8 o'clock, and admission again is free. The Artreach Studios in Peel are run by Kate Jerry and Colette Gamble. You'll find a whole host of opportunities to get involved in a wide range of activities throughout November and December and into the new year. Shiaght Laa spoke to Kate.
Kate Jerry here at the Artreach Studios. There'll be an opportunity for people to come in and see some of the artwork on display here on a long weekend.
We have 15th, 16th and 17th of November, we have our largest annual event called Christmas Hygge, and we have artists, craftspeople and also food producers coming into the studio and sharing all the things that they create.
What sort of range of items will you have?
So we have painters, illustrators, we have people who create pottery, we have the food producers, like for instance Berries is coming in with all of his Christmas wear. We have people who create using fabric, so textile artists as well. I probably haven't mentioned everybody because there's a very broad range of people who are making on the Isle of Man.
So that's an opportunity for people to come and see what is being done, but you also offer opportunities for people to come along and be involved themselves.
We pride ourselves really on encouraging people to come in and make themselves. So we do have a variety of workshops that we offer, from painting, so you can come and do an art night, or you can create clay lanterns, and there's a few other ceramic workshops, sculptural workshops. We have a coil pot workshop, which is a really fun one to do. So one of the things that I said we pride ourselves on helping other people to make things, but also just to come and create something they wouldn't necessarily have thought of doing, or if they had, maybe would put off the idea.
And in some ways, it's not so much what they produce, it's the taking part that matters. Absolutely,
yeah. They're very social events, and we have a really lovely atmosphere here in the studio in Peel. So, yeah, I think that's very encouraging.
One of the opportunities is called Pour Acrylic, which sounds quite a good, messy way of getting involved.
Yes, acrylic pouring. So a few years ago, actually, when it first came about, expressive artists love to chuck paint around, and with this particular medium, so with acrylic pouring you use a medium basically, and you can mix different pigments into it and throw them on the canvas, but rather than there's a little bit of control in it because it's quite a thick medium, but it's a very fun and exciting thing to do. It's very good, I'd say, for people who are able to let go and just want to see things happen in the paint.
And because of the medium as well, it's not something they'll take away with them necessarily, it's something they can come back for as well.
They wouldn't be able to take it away, come back about a week or 2 weeks later. We also finish each artwork is finished with a resin coat, so there's a little bit of time in between. So yeah, it's pretty, like, some elements to it are specialist, but the fun bit the client comes to do, participants come to do, yeah.
Just into December, you have another workshop coming up.
On the 8th of December, we've got an event called It's a Wrap, and again, it's another event in which artisans, creatives, makers, artists are going to come in and share their products. We have got a professional wrapping service on the day. It's kind of a little bit more designed towards last-minute shopping, but I'm sure there'll be a few big items here as well if wanted. We will have a live DJ here. We will have various other things that we have. Yeah, we'll have interactive activities on that particular one, so a bit of clay workshop people can get involved in.
Hold regular workshops for adults and for children, but you also have a teens club. So tell us about the background of the teens club.
The teens club, we got in contact with the National Saturday Club in the UK some time ago, so it's probably about 2 years ago, and it took a bit of time, but eventually a year ago now we started the first National Saturday Club for teens. And it's a really fantastic opportunity for teenagers to come and create, be encouraged in making art, doing lots of different using different mediums and techniques. And also they get to exhibit their work in London. So it's also the fact that people all over the country, teenagers all over the country, are creating at that particular time. Quite a connecting thing to do, I think.
You have a range of lots of different sorts of workshops throughout the year. So how can people find out about them? Where can they get the information?
Everything is bookable, and all information can be found on the website, and you can also book through there. With the National Saturday Club for Teens, there is an application process. Yeah, just to make sure that we know that whoever is attending is enthusiastic and is there for genuine reasons. Yeah, so all of our events till the end of the year are online, so just have a look at artreachstudios.com website.
Oh, go to my more, your roots.
Kate Cherry of Artreach Studios. A Shene and Show. That's all from Shiaght Laa this time. So, from me, Fiona McArdle, Slen you.